selfishly, this is something I'm curious about. I don't know how good of a conversation is going to make for the actual podcast, but um, obviously I'm a doubles player. I've been playing doubles for the last year and a half, like, focusing fully on doubles. Can you tell me from your perspective what are the things you value the most in terms of doubles, and if you can give me any advice for making it on the top tour in doubles, what would I focus on or keep in the front of my mind?
So one of the things with doubles was for me always that when I think 2011 or 2012, my highest ranking in doubles was 43. And it was always the decision. I think I was 120, 130 in singles at the time. It was always the decision, do you continue playing singles or doubles or whatever? So I ended up playing singles and I had my great results. But I always said at the end of the career, I want to play doubles again fully. And that's why I still invested all that time trying to get my ranking up, because I think I started at 250 and I got it back up to, I don't know, 80 or something, 70 something maybe, before I got hurt again. But that was like my time and me wanting to invest into that. But also, I think the traveling gets harder and harder. So in doubles, you're not by yourself. You have someone to travel with. You have sometimes, to share these, long days and these waitings in airports and stuff like that around. So I think that's one of the greatest things about doubles, that you're not by yourself. Also not on the court, and you can help each other. And also a day when you're not as motivated or your partner's as motivated, you have someone there to pull you up. If you're by yourself in South America and you don't feel like training, no one going to tell you, yo, get up, you got to go practice. So
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things. And one of the main things, I presume that you already do it, is I would stay on a side. I wouldn't switch back and forth. I would want to pick a side, because you're going to realize how much better your returns get.
yeah,
Because suddenly now you're just going to not waste time returning on the other side, because you don't
I
have to.
agree.
So I think at the time when I started playing, I was like, okay, I want to stay on the ad side because I think that's where I'm more dangerous. So I decided that's going to be my side. And yes, sometimes I would play with someone who has an unbelievable back, and I said, okay, I'll go on the deuce side, but obviously I'm not going to return as well on the deuce side as I did on the ad side. But I would pick a side and try to stay on that, and then, yeah, work on the little things, the finishing balls, a lot of volleys, a lot of returns, a lot of serving, and try to find a good partner. I think that's the most important thing, because I played with a lot of good guys that end up being top 20 now. Evan King, Andrea Vavasori winning slams, a lot of guys like that. And I never had that success in doubles, but at the end of the day, I was out there with great guys that I'm still friends with. And I think that's one of the, find a good partner, train
Yeah,
hard, do your best, and then you see what comes. Like I said, there's a lot of luck, maybe the right draw here and there, and suddenly, boom, look at Evan. Evan has been grinding forever.
yeah,
I was, at the end of the year, I called him. I was like, yo, Metz is going to be like my last ATP. Do you want to come to Europe? And, I'd love to play with a good friend. And that's going to be my last tournament. I told him, obviously, officially, I didn't, because I didn't really want to deal with all of that. And Evan came down and we played. And, playing challengers and losing and, just to grind. And then 5 weeks and his entire life changes. So it could be right around the corner. And you don't know how many guys stopped right before that. What if Evan would have stopped 2 years ago or last year at the end of the year? Because last year at the end of the year, he ended up going to Asia with Harrison, and then they start winning those challengers. And then this year, boom.
What Evan is not stopping is wearing 16 brands every day and mismatching his clothes and his cars. Bro, you top 20 in the world now, do better, bro. Sign the contract
But
and
he
wear the
said,
clothes, though.
but that's what he said. It is what it is, and
Yeah.
I'm also a big fan of sign the contract when it's right. Don't sign the
Yeah.
contract just to. And at
Just
the end
there.
of the day, whatever he's
Yeah.
been doing is what got him there. And unless he's 20 in the world, unless he's getting a good contract that's paying some money, I wouldn't sign anything either.
Yeah. But I guess like you, what I appreciate about him is that he's an individual and he's gonna do things his way. And we
Yeah.
always laugh about stay hungry. Yeah, basically just stay hungry, stay grounded.
That's the thing
it's
with
funny.
him. Like he the same. Like I saw him at Wimby, the same Ev he was a year ago, and to be honest, that's probably even more outstanding than the tennis results, because a lot of guys don't do that, and you don't know how you're gonna react when that fame, those
Successful,
results,
yeah.
that money comes, and for you to be still the same way and still deal with everyone the way you've been dealing with them and still be liked by everyone. Like, it's not that easy to do because a lot of people do change. I mean, obviously, certain things are going to change because you're playing bigger tournaments. But, he's a guy that I've known for so long that also helped me personally when I had some issues in my private life when we were playing tournaments and stuff. And he's just a great guy all around, and nothing but blessings for him. So happy it happened to him.
No,
Good guy for sure.
if it happened to anybody, it should be people like him. He's a good guy, and even me, my times around him, he's always been very helpful. If he watched me play a match or I play him in a match, he would tell me what he thought, what he saw. Always a positive guy. So happy for him and Christian. Hope they keep going that way. But I do have a question about doubles. I don't play really, but Jody has been, I guess, dealing with finding partners. Were you trying to get the best tennis player you could get, or someone that you also would enjoy playing with, playing alongside?
It depends. I think it's a little different. If you need someone and it's a specific tournament and it's gonna at the end of the day, it's about you. Like, what's gonna further your, like, what do you want? What do you need? And if it's, let's say, one tournament, it could be that this tournament I'm going to find the best possible player to get in just to be in because I need the funds, because I need ranking points, because I need whatever. But at the end of the day, for a good partnership, you don't only need a good tennis player. You also need someone, first of all, to maybe match your playing style. Like with me being aggressive and, hitting winners, but also making mistakes, I used to play very well with guys that were very solid. So obviously I would try to look for that type of player. But then also, if you're going to play long term with someone, needs to also be someone that's cool outside the court. I mean, obviously, I've played with guys where it's just business. You meet on court and you play on court, but you've never gone to dinner with the guy. But in the long run, it's difficult for me personally, everyone's different, but for me personally, it's difficult to play with someone long term like that. Because, like, it's like a relationship. Like, you got to be around this person 24/7 for who knows how many days of the year, not seeing your friends, family, wife, whatever, and then you're not even going to dinner with him. Some guys like it like that. I don't. So, I mean, that's, I guess, something that you need to figure out for yourself and see what's important for you. And then,
What I enjoy about playing with one specific person is that, like I've been playing now a few weeks with Alfredo Perez, American guy, and I enjoy being able to play a match and be like, okay, this is something that Jody needs to work on. Maybe this is something that Alfredo needs to work on. And then there's something that we both need to work on together. Like, maybe that's tactics. Maybe that's learning, like having an experience and being like, we can't let that happen again. Maybe it was too easy for a team to do this. So we have to make sure that they feel pressure. They can't do that so easily. And that's not something that I do. That's not something that he does. That's something we have to do together. And like, those little things can add up quick. Like, you can make those small adjustments and they can add up quick, and then all of a sudden the level just goes up like pretty quick. And that's what's most frustrating to me about chopping and changing, because then sometimes you're gonna have that same learning process with the next person and the next person before you really get to know each other. And it's one of the most frustrating things for me, because I'm combining
and
like
Hunter Reese, they played for ages.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think that's a good way to start and to stick with the same person. And then obviously at some point it might be that you have to switch because maybe he gets injured or you have an opportunity to get a higher ranking to get into a bigger tournament or whatever. That's things like that happen too. But I always also, one important thing is always be honest and be straight, because there's a lot of of that behind the back type of thing in the doubles game. But that I always feel like it might help you now for one or two tournaments, but down the road, like, people talk and everyone knows. And at the end of the day, most of those players that did that are struggling to find partners in a year or two. People will use
string that racket properly for your opponent.
Point being, like, a guy might his business, man. Like, like you want to be treated properly. So, try to, obviously there might be a decision where you're going to maybe screw someone over, but not from a backstabbing point of view. It's just like, this is business. Things were going great, but I have this opportunity. I think for me, I got to take it and just be honest. But there's guys that are setting up with 5 guys to play, and then they sign in with a 6th guy, and 5 guys don't have a partner.
I've heard stories about that, actually. I've heard stories about people telling people that they're signing with someone so they think the cut's going to be so strong. And then when they actually sign, it's not that person, and now the cut's like 50 or 100 spots low. Yo, doubles is insane, bro. Insane.
Yeah.
Shiesty.
Yes. That's why like when someone asked me to play Lexington 2 weeks from now, that's considerably higher than Alfredo. And the first thing I did is I went straight to Alfredo and I was like, yo, bro, like someone just asked me to play this. Like we already didn't get into Bloomfield next week. Like, what do you think? And he said, yeah, let's
Yeah.
both try and find someone higher, see if we can both get in. It's like that
But
way
that's what
everybody
I mean. It's
wins.
fair game,
You know?
like, you know, exactly.
It's like an open relationship.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Thanks for watching this clip. If you want to watch the full episode, the link is in the description down below.